Welcome back to Fantasy Hockey TimBits. We're just going to talk about forward must-adds here right now. I'll try and do defense and goaltending video next up. I've been busy a lot. Work gets in the way. My apologies. But let's dive right in here, not waste any time. Most of these guys are less than 60% owned, so keep that in mind. Not to mention there's been like a rash of COVID outbreak across the league, so take a good look at the schedule before you pick any of these guys up, but I'll try and give you a heads up as best I can. Let's begin. Getzlaf, he's back off the IR, and with the Ducks, he's on that first line, first power play unit. Now, he's got 0 points in his last 2 games, but he's just getting his sea legs. I won't doubt that he'll pick up where he left off. Stop the video, grab him right away. He's less than 40% owned. Trevor Siegras, also with the Ducks, less than 39% owned. He's playing second line center right now, first power play. Now he's got 0 points in his last 3 games, but in his previous 4 games, he had 8 points. He shoots as well when it comes to peripherals. Raquel is less than 25% owned. He's on the second line, first power play. Now, again, 0 points in his last 3 games, but in the previous 4 games, he had 4 points, and he shoots a good deal. Sonny Milano, maybe you just want to keep an eye on him. Put him on your watch list, but he's less than 16% owned. He's on the second line. He's now on the first power play unit, which I don't know how long that's going to last. And he does have 0 points in his last 3 games, but in the previous 4 games, he had 7 points. This guy plays anywhere from 12 to 22 minutes a game. He's all over the place, but he's got 20 points in 25 games so far this season. So he's starting to pick up speed here. Let's move over to Arizona and Clayton Keller, who's less than 57% owned, first line, first power play. Now he's got 0 points in his last 2 games, but in the previous 3 games, he had 4 points, and he shoots a good deal. Keep an eye on him. Phil Kessel, less than 55% owned, first line, first power play unit with the Yotes. Has 4 points in his last 5 games, and he's starting to pick up steam as well. You should regularly take a peek at him. Moving over to the Sabres, I got one player for you in Kyle Okposo. And he's less than 5% owned. He's on the second line right now. He's been bumped up. He's on the second power play unit, 9 points in his last 9 games. He shoots. He hits a bit. He's becoming more consistent. Nino Ryder from the COVID-ravaged Carolina Hurricanes is less than 50% owned right now, but he's got 9 points in his last 9 games. Playing on that first line, second power play unit. He shoots and hits a little bit as well. He plays anywhere from a little less than 11 minutes to a little less than 18 minutes a game. So it's just, very up and down with that guy. Let's talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets now. I got 4 players for you here. Jack Roslovic has awoken. He's less than 50% owned at the moment. He's now playing first line center. Don't know how long that's going to last. He's on the second power play unit, but he's got 4 points in his last 4 games. Jacob Voracek is less than 21% owned. First line, first power play, 4 points in his last 4 games. And Laine should be returning very soon. So you should see a bump in his production when that happens too. Max Domi, who's been playing in Laine's space, so look for him to be bumped at some point. But he's less than 6% owned. Currently on the first line, second power play unit. 5 points in his last 4 games. We'll see how Laine's return affects his production. Lastly, from Columbus is Alexander Texier, who's less than 1% owned, and that's because he's on the 4th line. Why am I bringing him up? Well, he's on the second power play unit. He skates really fast, and he's got 4 points in his last 4 games. He plays anywhere from a little over 10 minutes to less than 18 minutes per game. The Colorado Avalanche, Alexander Newhook. Is his first name Alexander? I think it is. I'll go with that. He's less than 4% owned. He's playing second line center while Kadri is out. That's day-to-day, so keep an eye on that. He's also on the second power play unit. He's got 5 points in his last 5 games. Plays anywhere from just over 11 minutes to just over 17 per game. Beep. Moving over to the Detroit Red Wings and Pius Suter. Well, English. He's just under 3% owned. He's the second line center, second power play. He's got 7 points in his last 8 games. He goes on these streaks. He shoots a bit as well. In deeper leagues, you want to consider him. The Florida Panthers and Carter Verhage, a player I started off, I actually drafted this season, but he's been quite inconsistent. In any case, he's on that first line. He was completely kicked off the power play, but he's back on it. We'll see how long that lasts because Barkov is currently out. When he gets back in, that is, we could see him bumped off again. He's less than 53% owned and has got 6 points in his last 5 games. The LA Kings, Victor Arvidsson. Stop the video right now. Grab him because he's finally found his niche in this lineup. He was playing on that left side beside Kopitar on the first unit, but ever since they bumped him down to the second line, he's been doing wonders. He's still on that first power play unit. He's less than 15% owned. 8 points in his last 8 games. He shoots a ton. Grab him. Let's talk about the Wild now. I've got at least a few players for you here, starting with Marcus Felino. Another showstopper gem here. Second line, second power play. He also goes up to the first line sometimes. He's less than 37% owned. He's got 6 goals in his last 8 games. He hits a ton, shoots a bit as well, and is a plus 13. Jordan Greenway. Now, put him on your watch list because he's heating up. Just over or just under 5% owned, that is. Second line right now, anyways. Second penalty kill unit. He's got 6 points in his last 7 games. He hits a bit. For a guy that size, he should be hitting more. But he is a plus 14 so far this season. Matt Zuccarello, another gem. Stop the video. Go see if he's available. He's less than 50% owned. Why am I talking about him almost every week, it seems like? First line, first power play unit, 13 points in his last 11 games. He's riding a point per game so far this season overall. He's a plus 10, and he averages over 2 shots per game and has 9 power play points on the season, the most of any player on the Wild, and that's with 6 less games played than players like Kaprizov, for instance. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the Devils now. 2 players here. Jack Hughes, less than 52% owned. He's currently the first line center because Hershiser is out. He's gone under COVID protocol. But even when he comes back, I'd still have him on this list because he is always on that first power play unit. Now, he's got 4 points in his last 5 games, 7 in his last 9 games. But this guy's going to pick up steam for sure. I definitely stash him. Jesper Brat, another must-have here. Second line, first power play unit. Now he's got 17 points in his last 15 games. 6 of those 17 points are goals. 24 points in 26 games so far this season. He shoots a ton, and he's a plus 8. Now, the Nashville Predators, 3 players for you, starting with Mikael Granlund, less than 47% owned. He's currently playing the first line center, but he's usually at second line center. It doesn't matter because he's always on the power play. Duchene and Johansen are currently out. He's only got 2 points in his last 5 games, but he's got 27 points in 28 games so far this season. And he's got 8 power play points, which just ties him for the lead with Duchene and Johansen. Speaking of the latter, although he's on the IR, he's on COVID protocol, put him on your watch list because he's less than 32% owned right now. He's got 6 points in his last 4 games. 24 points in 27 games so far this season. He's picking up speed. He's normally the first line center. He's always on that first power play unit. Lastly, for the Predators, I've got Tolvanen, who you just want to keep an eye on here, but he's less than 5% owned. Second line, left wing. He's on the first power play unit. We'll see. He'll probably be bumped to the second once they get healthy. But he's got 4 goals in his last 5 games. And in 28 games so far this season, he's got 10 points. He shoots a ton. He hits, and he's a plus 8 so far in the season. Over to the Islanders. Wahlstrom, another gem. Stop the video, grab him right away. He's less than 5% owned. 8 points in his last 5 games. He's third line, but he's on the first power play, only 13 points in 23 games. But this could be the norm for him for in on out here. Now, he shoots, he hits a bit, and he puts up penalty minutes, 29 so far. That's second on the Islanders. Next, we're going to hop over to the Ottawa Senators. And it's, I don't want to say a similar player, but in the sense that he could be getting hot now and for the remainder of the season. And I'm talking about Tim Stützle, who's less than 47% owned. He's playing second C right now because Pinto is gone. He's on the injured list for in the next 4 months, it looks like. You want to put him at least on your watch list. He's got 5 points in his last 4 games. Only 13 and 25 though, but he shoots and he hits. He is a minus 11, but he's got 8 power play points, second only to Batherson on this team, who's on fire, who's got 9. Moving over to Philly, Kevin Hayes, less than 9% owned. Just put him on your watch list for the time being. He's currently third line center. That's because Brassard is out with an injury. He's week to week. Otherwise, he'd be playing 2C and have probably more productive wingers. But he is on the second power play unit. He's got 3 points in his last 4 games, 5 points in 8 on the season. Pittsburgh. Let's talk about a few players here, starting with Jeff Carter, who's hot again. He's less than 18% owned, second line center, first power play unit. Now, he's got 3 goals and 4 points in his last 4 games, 15 points and 24 on the season. He shoots a good deal, depending on when Malkin comes back, which could be anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks from now. He might be bumped down, so get it while it's hot. Not to mention Getzlaf and Rust are out, which is why he's seeing first power play time, right? Evan Rodrigue, he's less than 13% owned. 3 points in his last 3 games. I'm mentioning him like it's like 2-3 weeks in a row right now because of all the injuries and stuff that Pittsburgh's had. First line, first power play unit. He's playing next to Crosby. He now also has 19 points in 27 games so far this season, and he shoots a ton. And he's a +6. Lastly, for the Penguins, Heinen, whose minutes have drastically gone up of late, is less than 6% owned. He's on the second line, second power play unit. In his last 3 games, he's got 2 goals, 4 points. Again, he's a watch list candidate here, but you got to be ready to drop him as soon as he starts to be pushed off that line. San Jose, let's talk about their rookie, Jonathan Dahlen. Less than 2% owned. He's playing on the first line next to Couture. First power play unit. He's got 5 points in his last 6 games. At least put him on your watch list. Sticking with the Sharks, I've also got Barabanov for you here, who is just a watch list candidate, but he's less than 1% owned. 5 points in his last 4 games. He's playing second line left wing, and he's on the second power play as well. 15 points on the season in 23 games. Let's talk about the St. Louis Blues. I got 2 players here. Ivan Barbashev, who's been sticking out for the past month or so. Less than 16% owned. Because of injuries to Schenn and Thomas and Bozak, he's now playing second line center. But even when he was the 3C, he was putting up some points here. He's also on the second power play unit. He's got 9 points in his last 9 games. 19 on the year. Grab him. Then here's a weird one for you. I believe it's Nathan Walker. I think he was the first Australian player to play an NHL game. And that was with, I want to say, the Capitals. He's less than 3% owned. He's not on any special teams, and he's a third line left winger. But in his last 3 games, since he's been called up from the AHL, he's got 4 goals and 5 points. Guy's 27 years old and making the most of it. Some food for thought here. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning right now. I've got 3 players for you. Killorn, less than 53% owned, 3 points in his last 3 games. Second line, first power play unit, 23 points in 27 games this season. And he puts up a half-decent amount of peripherals when it comes to shots, hits, and penalty minutes. Next, we got a bit of a hidden gem here in Cory Perry. Less than 3% owned, 5 points in his last 4 games. Third line, second power play unit, and only 11 points in 27 games this season, but 10 of those points have come in his last 11 games. Yeah, he shoots a good deal, he hits, and he blocks a little bit as well. Lastly, from Tampa, I've got Taylor Radish, who is less than 1% owned, but he's playing on the first line, first power play unit as well. 4 points in his last 5 games, only 7 on the season, though. Keep an eye on him. I mean, for deeper leagues, if you want to throw a guy in for the next few games or just for this week, consider him, because I don't know how long he's going to stay in the top 6, never mind any of the power play at all. Lastly, I've got the Toronto Maple Leafs here. 2 players, Michael Bunting, who's less than 15% owned. He's playing shotgun to Austin Matthews still, which I see him staying there for a while. Second power play unit. He's got only 2 points in his last 4 games, but in his last 10 games, he's had 11 points. At the very least, put him on your watch list. He shoots, he hits a bit, and Kashe is now playing on the right side. Beautiful segue, because he's, also playing shotgun to Matthews. Less than 6% owned on the first power play unit. Ladies and gentlemen, 5 points in his last 4 games. He shoots a ton when it comes to peripherals. The only knock on him is he's kind of plays like a madman. They call him the kamikaze guy there, and he tends to take every, 5th or 6th game or so off. So just make sure you keep an eye on that, because, Marner is out, looks like, until maybe even January. So we'll see how that goes. There you have it. That's it. That's all. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you want to support me and the channel, go to my crowdfunding page. You can find it in my description box below. It's called Buy Me a Coffee. I'd really appreciate your support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, which will alert you when my next video comes out, which should be about goalies and defensemen. Thanks again. Please be kind to each other out there in this crazy world we're living in right now, and I'll see you soon.